Hey, it's Orit, and I am so excited to share today's episode. About 5 or 6 years ago, I saw this fascinating video pop up on my newsfeed on Facebook, and it was this beautiful video collage of a group of kids doing these movement and art experiences that looked super reflective and insightful and really deep. And when I started this podcast, I thought I have to interview them. I have to talk to them and spread the word because their work is so amazing. So today I talked to Alessandro Lumare of Segni mossi. And if you haven't seen these videos, I encourage you to pause this right now if you can actually be in a place where you can watch the videos, not if you're driving, and check out at least one video because it's great to see it even before we talk about it. And if not, at least take a look after because it really is fascinating. And before we get into the episode, I want to tell you about my online community that I hold where we have weekly movement dance parties where we move with a certain intention. Like this past week, we moved with the intention of reclaiming your power. And this group is called the Lasting Love Movement. It's on Facebook and it's for specifically for women, but also including transgender, non binary, and who have experienced trauma in the past and are now having difficulty really creating lasting, loving relationships in their lives, creating deeper, more intimate relationships physically, sexually, emotionally, and who want to really heal the trauma from the past so that they can have that deeper love. So if you're interested in joining us, if this sounds like you, I'm also going to leave that link in the show notes. Until then, I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did, and let's get into it. This is Mind Your Body, a dance movement therapy perspective on the integration of our emotional, cognitive, physical, and spiritual aspects of our being into one more aware and whole existence.
Okay.
All right. So today we have Alessandro Lumare on the podcast. I think I said it okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I discovered Alessandro on Facebook, and he and his team have these amazing videos. So we'll talk a little bit about that today and what you do, Alessandro. And if you could start by introducing yourself, that would be great.
Okay. So this project, which is called Segni Mossi, is a project made by Simona Lobefaro and me. Simona is a choreographer and a dancer, and I am a visual artist and an illustrator. I usually create picture books for children. So, and I play with images. So I'm not just drawing. I use camera and any kind of material, food, and any kind of stuff to create images. And the idea is to watch things from a new perspective. In the meantime, Simona, for which concern dance, she is not interested in formal ability, but in communication. So dance for her, for us, is a way to communicate. It's a kind of bridge to put in relation your inner world with the inner world of the audience or someone else. And so it is focused on space, and this is the common field. So both Simone and I are really interested in space. So your inner space and the space you are living all around you. So and you can transform this space thanks to the movement, thanks to the traces you live in the space with your body and with the oil pastels, the tool we usually use with Segni mossi. So oil pastels, so a very, very cheap, common material that every teacher can easily find and buy, because we usually work and everything was born in public schools. So we work during the year in the public schools in Rome, in collaboration with an association called Mus-e. And our focus is to work on social inclusion through the arts. So we meet children, and through the use of this common language, non-verbal language, we help them creating the group, we help them communicating and find their place within the class. So everything was born in 2014 in the schools of Rome, and suddenly everything explodes. We posted some videos on Facebook. People started calling us and asking us, do you do something with adults as well? And so we started conducting training courses, first moment in Italy and then abroad. The first people who called us from abroad was an organizer from Brazil, and, and me and Simona couldn't believe her. She must be crazy. Does she really want us to go there on the other side of the world? But it was real, and since that moment we never stopped traveling and meeting people. So in the end, this project become a kind of life project. It changed all our lives. We conducted like 200 trainings all over the world, and we met thousands and thousands of people. And traveling, we also conduct workshops with children, not only activities for adults. So we have the opportunity to work also with children. Last month I was in Rio, in the favelas called Mare, and it was amazing.
That sounds amazing. I'm not surprised. Your videos are amazing. Like, I've watched them over and over again, like the same videos. So it is amazing, but totally not surprising. And
the video is an important aspect of our work. I mean, it's not just to show what we do to someone else, but it is also a way to better understand the work itself, also for us. I mean, so and as a visual artist, I worked in video editing for some years. So this is another aspect of the work. So thanks to the video, the frame, now you can focus. And like you, watching again the same moment, you can better understand what is passing.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know or hasn't seen your videos, can we talk a little bit more about it's a lot of snapshots of a lot of different activities that you're doing with the kids. I've only seen ones with kids. So can you give a few different examples of what kinds of activities you do, how it helps them understand more of their inner space, how it relates with their outer physical space as well?
Yeah, all of them are really simple, playful activities, because we need from the first class to engage children, and we do not use how could I say the dance as they usually know. So when we meet you meet children in school, they already have an idea of what dance is or what drawing is, and we from the very first moment try to let them know that we are not that kind of things. We really like to start from them from their movement, their mood, their energy, what they bring at school. So the activities are very simple and immediate, like, for instance, what if any activity starts with this question, no? What if we we will leave a trace on the paper while jumping? What if we roll and leave a trace with the oil pastel, with these colors, no, on the floor while rolling? And so we start from the body, we start training the body, and usually using the others, so in connection with the others. And then we add the colors to have a kind of feedbacks from this big, huge paper we usually use. So we usually use like 4 meter for 2 meter paper on the floor or on the wall or on a cardboard, on a big cardboard. So maybe an activity can be just lay standing on the floor with your body, you know, like in a bed, almost sleeping, and suddenly in a moment try to touch a cardboard that your friends are hanging with the hands. It's a sort of game. They go close to you with this cardboard, and you jump trying to touching with the color, and they escape from you, no? And so this kind of, I cannot explain in English, but do you know this game, you know, when you have the hands like this and try to do this?
Yeah. And it'll be hard for anyone listening to see that, but yes, watch it.
So yes, it's a very, I say, immediate. Can you understand?
Very
no?
Playful and experimental and interactional.
Yeah. Anyway, we have also a kind of contemporary art approach. So we are simple, immediate, because we want to communicate, engage them from the first moment. But in the meantime, we try to create the most clean setting for them. And so when we arrive in the school, and the teacher gave us usually another room, we do not work in the classroom, but in another room, we rebuilt this room. We move all the furniture away, we clean the walls, we clean everything, because we want them to work, the children to work in a kind of a museum, in a sort of museum, you know?
Like a blank canvas too.
Yes, and I think this is very important, because this is a way to tell them, no, what you are doing is important for us. You know, we want to give value to what you are doing. I don't know if I answered to your question, because there are many different aspects I was talking about, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, I remember a lot of different things that happens that I've seen in the videos. Like, one that comes to mind is there's a piece of paper next to them, and they're drawing like the rest of their face on the paper, like the other half, right?
Yes.
A lot about self-image as well. And a lot of you say in a different language from an artist's language, but I relate to it a lot as a dance therapist. Like, what we do is nothing like a dance class. We're not teaching you technique. It's meeting you where you're at and exploring from there. And as a dance therapist, we always change up the rooms too, move everything to the side, give the space for more expression. Yeah,
and we have many activities on like a kind of self-portraits, or we very often use these kind of activities. We, for instance, draw a partner on a transparent glass, a transparent surface, now putting this surface between you and the other. and maybe we can play with this transparent surface, putting on the face of your partner, and your partner can play with the surface, deforming the face, moving it in order to deform the face. And so it's everything about wonder, surprise, to find something new, and we use instruments, to help children watch things from a different perspective or in a different way. So most of our activities are about this is an important aspect. Thanks to the drawing, to these traces that spread out from the activity, you in the end have a sort of feedback, of the action you have done. Yes. For instance, another activity is about a class is about symmetry, because we usually work by issues. So each day we have a different issue, and we start an investigation on this issue, and the message is, okay, now we did this together. Now you can go further by yourself. So we don't have a program. We don't start with a sort of arch. So we building a program. Each class is a different experiment. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work perfectly, but this is the idea. We try most of the time not to repeat the experiments. So it's 4 years, and we are working with children, and we trying every day to come up with a different new experiment, because children can feel if you are experimenting with them, or if you already know what the result will be. And the atmosphere we like, and we like to share with them, is that of a crazy scientist who is experimenting with them. And so I was talking, yes, about this class about symmetry. This is inspired by an artist called Tonio Rico. Maybe you know him. The idea is just to standing in front of a wall for a long time, moving symmetrically. So I mean, exploring the symmetry and leaving traces with some oil pastels on the wall. So this is the result of your movement. It's not you drawing symmetrically. It's you like in a sort of trance. In that case, it was a trance, because this artist worked for 4 hours uninterrupted in front of this wall. We have not such long time with children, but anyway, the idea is to lose yourself in this kind of movement. In this case, it is about symmetry. And then in the end, you move a little bit back and you watch these traces, and it is very strong for them to recognize these traces. It's like turtles going to the sea now. Imagine that the world turn and watch back. All the path it did. And they give us feedbacks. They share their opinions, their feelings. And so some of them, for instance, can say, "Oh, I didn't think that I could go so far from my center. Wow, what a big drawing!" And someone can say, "And the most I go farther, the most I go close to the wall with my face. So in the end, I was within the drawing. It was." I was so close to the color. It was like diving into the color. This kind of feedback.
Yeah. I was going to ask you if you come together and talk about it at the end or through the process, and what kinds of things do the kids commonly discover about themselves? Like, do you talk about the metaphor of that, of going really big or becoming a part of the drawing, and like how do they take that experience away into their lives?
We usually, I have to specify this. Me and Simona, we are not therapists. We are artists. So I also worked as a dancer for a while. I also worked as a social worker for a while. But in this project, it's all about art. So, for instance, if some strong feelings spread out from the experience, we use them as colors. So we use them in the work. This comes from our attitude in improvisation, in creating our performance. Before Segni mossi. So any kind of emotion is a color that you can use and put again in the work. So we usually do not analyze with them so much. And it is, I was thinking, last few weeks ago, we had a workshop with children and adults. And it was nice because we had the opportunity to listen their feedbacks and how different they were, the children one and the adults one. And I remember an adults, I don't remember which activity it was, but an adults was talking about feeling. I felt moving, I was moving faster than usual. I felt this sensation of fast movement within my body, within my mind. And the child told, no, I didn't feel that I was moving fast. I was fast.
That's amazing. Wow. Oh, that's so interesting, like the separation that the adults can have from what they do, like mind from body, where it's so much more integrated in the child. They don't separate their thoughts so much from their movements. Like, I am fast.
Yeah. But anyway, I think the experience they live is as deep as our. For instance, there is another activity we really love to do with people, is about growing, and a class about growing. And during the class, we have this proposal. We stay very very close. How do you say? Very with your body enclosed.
Yeah,
like this.
Close together or small.
Yes, as a ball.
Bunched up. I don't know.
Okay. Yes, that is on the floor, like a seed, like your body were a seed.
Oh, like curled up on the floor. Like, yeah.
Yes, with a color in your hand, and then very slowly we put a slow music, very calm, quiet. Very slow, you start growing, starting from your feet. Your feet are like the roots on the floor, and pushing through these roots, you start growing and expanding the body. And while doing this, you never take off the collar from the ground. So in the end, you are stretched, completely stretched on the floor. And when you stand up, you can see on the floor the path you did with the body. And why was starting talking about this?
Well, we were talking about moving.
Yeah. I was talking about deepness, and some adults ask, when we do these activities during a training, some adults ask us, but how can you do this with children? I mean, it's such a long timing activities. Can you imagine a group of 25 people waiting one after the other, opening on the floor? It's a kind of hypnotic atmosphere. It's a kind of ritual. And usually adults ask us, how can you manage this with children? Or how can they manage this timing? But and they usually say children are faster than you, maybe because their body are smaller, maybe because they don't have so many, how could I say, locked parts in the body. The movement can pass more fluid through the body, but in any case, the experience they have and the feedback they give us is the same that you are having. So in the end, it's not faster than the experience we had, because it lasts less time, but it has the same the same experience. So yes, the activities are very immediate and simple, but we really like also to go deep in the work with them, and we work with them as colleagues. Like we both experiment, and they are very serious in the meantime. You know, they can laugh, but they, as usually, we usually say this now, that play seriously as a child can do, no? And it is like this actually.
Yeah, it's so healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so freeing. Yeah, it's amazing. So the workshops with adults is training the adults to do that for the children that they work with, right?
Yes, but we have to specify this, because now I come back from China. I was in Beijing, and for instance, in this culture, the educational system is very different from ours. They learn a lot of things. They since they are very young, they spend a lot of time learning things. So it's and so it's very difficult also for adults, also for people who work on dance, creativity, etc., to understand the difference between teaching something and helping something, finding things.
Yes.
Or learn how to learn, no? We could say. So the trainings, as we usually say, when we conduct a training, we are not there to teach something to someone. What we really love is to share the approach, and in a way to open the atelier and to make experiments together. And what we really would like to transmit is not a catalog of techniques or proposals, but an attitude. So the curiosity that this kind of investigation, this combination of languages can suggest you.
Right. So you're not telling them specifically what to do. You're more integrating a new kind of culture into the work that they already do, right?
Mm-hmm. During the trainings, the trainings are very practical. So we conduct the experiments that we usually do with children. Yeah. Of course, in a different way, because they are adults, and so it will be different, absolutely. And we play a lot, but in a totally different way, because we want to engage them as adults, because the focus is to be surprised. And so if you have to do this with an adult, of course we have to do in a different way. So if in the end they would reproduce the activities as they did with us, with children, maybe they could not work because it was a different atmosphere. But what we really want to train with adults during the train is this availability, inner availability, you know? To be available to change your mind all the time while meeting the others, interacting with the others, all our activities are collective activities. So it's all about to move within the group, interact with the other trajectories, desires, intuitions, and you cannot do this just using the brain.
Yeah, like you can't just talk about it. And when they get their own experience of it in their own bodies, it's so much more helpful for them to then facilitate that for their kids.
Yeah.
You can't understand it unless you experience it. That's the same with my work too.
And it is also important the feedbacks. We really need the feedbacks from the adults, and they need to express their feedbacks, because sometimes in some cultures, especially in some cultures, people are not so accustomed, to share the fragility with the others. But if you are not trained doing this, starting from you cannot ask children to do this, of course.
Yeah,
so,
that's a great point. Yeah. So is there a way that whoever is listening to this can follow up with you and see if they can have a training where they're at?
Pardon, my English here is...
Is there a way to contact you or your organization and see and inquire or ask about doing a training?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have the Facebook page called Segni Mossi, and we have a website called Segni Mossi, on which you have a page about us, so many information about the works, etc., and the calendar of all our activities. We usually are invited by organizers from all over the world, so it's not us organizing this training. Mm-hmm. So people who would like to meet us can have a look in the calendar and contact the organizer, in the local organizer in the different countries. And this is how we usually meet people.
Yeah.
And another aspect of our activity, another activity of our project are the performances. Because we called performances is something in between a workshop and a performance. They are interactive performances. So there are interactive activities in which the public, there is no boredom between the performer and the public. So usually we do this kind of activities in public spaces, like yes, a square or the hall of a museum, and a kind of open space in which people can cross and pass and maybe meet us. So we like to appear in a context where maybe is not supposed to to find these kind of activities, and we like we like people meet these activities by... No, aspetta, I start once again. I started once again. For instance, there is a performance of us called Al Cubo. It's a big cube of 2 meters each side, a transparent one, in the middle of a road, of a square. Nobody knows who put this cube here, why it's here. People pass and have a look. And then Simona starts interacting with this cube, with the space, with the people in the street. There isn't a starting point. So there is a live musician starting interacting himself with what is happening in that moment. So little by little, we build with people something, and every day it will be different.
With the people on the street around?
Yes, with the people on the street.
Nice.
So it's Simona crossing this cube, playing with this cube, inviting with the sample people doing the same. No? And then during a pose of Simona in the cube, I arrive with a marker and I start drawing hair shape on the glass of the cube. And suddenly, every time a child comes to me and asks for the marker, and I have 40 markers in my pockets. So I start distributing markers everywhere. And so without spending even a word, a sort of drawing celebration starts in which children dance, interact with the cube, and other children drawing what is happening inside the cube. And little by little, me and Simona move away from this machine that is working in the street, and it's up to them. So it's their machine, it's their experiment, and the music follow them till the natural ending of the performance. This is the approach we usually have in this kind of activities. And so the message is, yeah, it's a kind of a window, no? A door you open in the street, no? And then so you
yeah, an opportunity to interact and create and with new people and in community.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, thanks to these machines, it's a very simple. It was the scenography of a performance of us. We worked for a while we had a dance company, and we had this scenography in our house, and it is not a big house. We didn't know what to do with this scenography, and then we decided to use like this, and we discovered that it was a very strong machine, because when you meet someone behind that wall, that glass wall, no, and you try to draw him on the wall, you start looking at him very deep, because you don't want to miss anything, no? Right. Like I'm doing now with your face. And you spend some time, because if you have to draw the eye, the mouth, so in the end you spend like 5 minutes watching the other in the eyes, so close, so deep, and it's very strong. I saw parents and children. I saw a father start crying. I saw the father kissing a daughter through the glass. It's we didn't know that it would have been so strong. Yeah. So it surprised.
You have a video of that?
We have yes, at least 2 videos. Yes, okay. on our Facebook page.
I see that.
And,
wow. Sounds amazing. Yeah, it sounds so amazing. I would love to see that, and I want to put the whatever links that I can of your website and of your Facebook page so that people can look and see, because of course it's a different experience watching it as well. Like hearing you talk about it, it was very touching too, and then seeing it, I think will be amazing for the listeners here.
So. Experience, yes. And as a matter of fact, when we conduct training courses, we usually invite organizers to combine a training with a workshop of us, because so the attendants have the opportunity to watch the activity with children, and it's so different now when you see in the action, the energy passing. So yes, this is yeah. Oh, my phone.
Yeah. Well, we're about meeting the time, so good. It's good ringing. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we say goodbye?
I would like to share books, movies that inspiring our works. Yes, I'm going to share some books.
He's going to get some books. For those of you listening, he's going to get some books from his bookshelf.
Oh, my phone. Someone really want to talk with me later. These. Yes, I spoke about the editor activity. I worked for a while as a video editor. This book was really inspiring for me.
Okay.
The title in English.
For those who are listening and can't see.
This is just in French. I don't know if you have in English. To see, no. The looks, and the power. Something like this. It's about cinema, documentary, and looking. How to look things. This is very famous. Betty Edwards. To draw with the right side of the brain. John Berger.
What's the title?
The title, what's this one? In English, Berger on Drawing. Berger on Drawing. And this one, Rudolf Ernheim. Arte percezione visiva. I think the original one is in Alemán. Can you see the name and the title?
I don't know how to say it.
This really inspired us, this book, because it it talked about the continuity of the traces that you leave with the body while moving. So when you move in the space with the body, you are living, you are drawing in a way in the mind of the people who are watching you. How can I destroy this? Okay, maybe. And when you draw on a physical surface, it's exactly the same thing. So there is no difference between traces that you leave in the memory. So let's approach traces with this approach and consider them on the same level. The traces that you are leaving the space, acting on the memory of the people, and the traces you are leaving on a surface with a tool like color.
Yeah. So for those of you who are listening only, you can come to the YouTube video and see the book because I can't say the name in Italian. Thank you so much for sharing your inspiration. It's really great to see, what has inspired you to create amazing experiences for lots of people around the world.
Okay, thank you.